Hey guys, this is Doctor McFarland, and in this video we're going to do a headrush tone sculpting live stream for the August memberships. And what the membership is, it's been around for actually about a year and a half, and it started out with me just creating videos on my website that I basically made a membership out of. And what it is I'm going through every amp, every cab, every microphone, every effect, and showing you the inner workings of like what each amp does, what each mic sounds like, and if you change it this way. So it's really just about understanding the headrush. But once you understand the headrush and how it works, you can apply this to any guitar setup you'd ever have. So if you eventually want to have an amp and maybe a small pedal board, well, this gives you the knowledge and the springboard to kind of better understand how to get that set up. So don't think that if you don't have a headrush that this doesn't apply to you, because it does. I'm basically using all the knowledge I've gathered in the last 25 years of owning tons of amps and guitars and pedals. And when I got the headrush, it was just it was very, very easy for me to pick up on what it actually does, because I already had the knowledge of how amps work and how pedals work and how guitar pickups play into the factor of the signal chain and all that stuff. So if you want to sign up, be sure to click on the link in the description down below. You'll see the Ultimate Access Bundle. Now, you don't have to buy the Ultimate Access Bundle to get this. You can pay for the Headrush Tone Sculpting course individually. But if you want to learn about music theory, guitar, all guitar-based stuff, and also recording, that's what the Ultimate Access Bundle does, is it gives you about, for the same price as like 5 months worth of private lessons, you get a lifetime access to all the videos I ever create for those courses, and also future courses that I will be creating here very soon. So if you want to dive deeper into music theory, gear, and recording, the website is the place you want to go. Check that out and sign up. And I will see you on the other side in the membership. But for now, we're going to be building some Soldano rigs off of the Headrush pedal board. And I made a really great sounding clean rig earlier this week. And I was like, man, you know what? The Soldano stuff is actually really good. So this will be just one of the topics we'll go over each month. Next month, it might be how to create rigs for a Strat type sound, or maybe a Tele or a humbucker, or, different guitars. But for now, we're just going to choose an amp, build some clean, crunch, lead, maybe some ambient, maybe some funk, who knows, type rigs. And then if you want to download the rigs, you can sign up for the membership, and they will be there under the August live stream tab. Or if you just want to get your headrush out and just follow along as I build the rigs, you can do it that way. But I do appreciate everyone who has went and signed up for the Headrush Tone Sculpting course. That goes to feed hungry children, i.e. mine. And also just, I'm a teacher, and I've been teaching private lessons for about 15 years. So instead of paying for a 30-minute lesson, you can just get a lifetime access for this one membership. And it's all about headrush and guitar, signal path, and stuff like that. So, sorry for the last live stream if you happen to see it. I forgot to, this is a brand new computer. I just got the M1 Mac Mini, and I did not realize that a piece of software was not installed, but it is now. So at least I see that everything's working correctly, so that's good. So I have my Reverend 6 gun with newly installed DiMarzio Area 61 and 58 pickups, and I think it sounds really good. So I'm going to play on the bridge pickup for most of the hard rock, heavy type stuff. Then I'll go to the neck and maybe the fourth position for some of the cleaner stuff. So let's stay on the bridge right now. And let me reposition this microphone just a little bit. There we go. All right, so this is the sound of a guitar with no rig, like nothing in the rig at all. So right, we got, it's a fairly clean sound. You can do some funk stuff with it. Okay, let's go ahead and tune real fast so everyone can see what the tuner sounds like. So how I'm doing this right now is I found an old webcam, since I'm not using my my MacBook Pro with the built-in FaceTime cam. So I'm just using an old webcam here. And I have my phone set up in Epoch Cam app, which turns my phone into a webcam as well. So the phone is over the headrush. The webcam, hello, is over here on top of my computer screen. And I am looking at the comments, and I see one viewer. So let me know who you are, where you're from, and if you have any questions about guitar, rig setups, or just in the headrush in general, okay? All right, here we go. So what we're going to do first, I'm going to put in an IR, and my go-to IR is obviously from my pack, Sonic DNA. See that okay? A little bit. It's not the greatest, I know. It's not the greatest. I might end up getting it a little bit closer just so you can see the screen. Oh, man. Hold on. Hold on. I think I know what I did too. And move this around a little bit. And then we'll make it just a little bit smaller. Okay, now I was hoping this would be a little bit smoother of a transition. Man. There we go. We're getting there. Sorry, I don't know why that's cutting that off. There we go. I'm using Streamlabs OBS for all this. So it is what it is. But that looks good. That looks nice and clear. And we'll leave it just like that. So that way you can see it really good. Okay? Sorry about that. Now, I don't have an amplifier in here just yet, but we have the Sonic DNA IRs. Now, why am I showing this off? Well, first of all, the pack is relatively cheap, and this gives you the ability to think like a producer in the studio. So, for example, let's just stick with the A group right now. So we have a greenback with the 57, okay? And we also have a Royer 121 also. And both mics are at 100%, okay? So think of it like you got two faders. We've got two faders right here. So if I bring one down, it's naturally going to, change the sound, right? So this is what this is doing. So we got the 57 and the 121 both at 100%. And then AB is bringing down the 121 by 50%. Okay? And then AC is bringing the 121 down by 100%. I mean, sorry, by 100%. So it's all the way down to 0. So I'm going to keep it on AA for right now. And once we get an amp in here, we can kind of mess around with the IR to show you some different things we can do. All right, so there's my amp and there's my IR. I usually put my wet effects in between. So that way, if I go to my hardware assign, if I go to global settings, I can have my amp line out, which is my 1/4 inch output, be set to alt. And then the source for the alternate output is my IR 1024 input. So what that means is this. You can send your full signal up into the input of your IR, and then it's going to stop. So that way, if you're sending your 1/4 inch output to an amplifier, maybe like a effects return of an amp, or even the input of an amp, it doesn't matter. It's not going to send the IR, and therefore getting a double cabinet sound, which I don't particularly prefer. But it will send the IR out the full rig because you're sending the rig and not the alternative output. So that's why I put my IR last. And I get a lot of questions about this, like, hey, why do you put your IR last and not right after the amp? Well, that's why. Okay, just for the rare instance that I want to hook an amp up on stage and send an XLR signal to the front of house. So that way I get 2 different signal paths, and that allows me to do that. So here is a Soldano clean. Okay, we can see all the parameters over here on the right. Okay, so this is just stock with nothing changed. Okay, like, ooh, that didn't actually sound that great. Well, what I like to do is usually bring up the preamp just a little bit, and we can keep the master down maybe between 30%, maybe 50%, just depending on what we want. And we'll listen to it now. I am on the bridge pickup, so that can be, if you don't like the brightness of it, then that's just, just change something on the amp. But in this instance, let's actually show you what's going to happen here. So I'm going to bring the low cut and the high cut. I'm going to take it off, which means it's going to be all the way down and all the way up. Because Greg, he already pre-filters all these IRs, so I'm not really going to mess with the high cut or the low cut on these. But for right now, let's say, for instance, that we think the 57 makes it too bright. So let's bring this down to let's make the 57 50% in the signal, and we're 121 100%. Okay, here's 57 all the way off. All right, so that did help to lessen the brightness a little bit. So here's both mics. So just by doing that, you can already start sculpting your sound just by choosing the right IR, depending on what you want. So we're going to stick with that for now. And next, let's show you my compression trick, which I like doing. So this is a Dyne 3 comp, and it's basically a rack unit compressor. So what I learned from Kevin Ward, which is a studio producer here in Nashville, is I'm going to bring the threshold all the way down. And then bring the release all the way down. The attack is going to be about 20 milliseconds, somewhere in there. It can be 15 or 10 or just whatever. We'll leave it at 10 right now. How about that? All right, now the key is if the ratio is 1 to 0, that means you're getting no compression at all, right? So now we're going to play. Let's bring the knee all the way up or all the way off. Now, when I start bringing up the ratio, you're going to hear the compression effect kick in. So what I like about this method of dialing in that certain compressor is you're not worried about wondering where you should set the threshold because you're just lowering it all the way down. You're just setting it as low as you can get it. And then you're adjusting the ratio to get the amount of compression that you want. Okay. So that's what I like about that. It just makes it a no-brainer way of dialing it in. And then if you want to, you can always mess with the gain to bring that up, or you can mess with the attack if you feel like it's squishing down too fast. You can bring the attack up a little bit. So that's the fast attack, and it's pretty squishy. So we're going to bring the attack back, maybe about back to 10 where we had it. All right, so this is going to give us a basis for a good clean tone, because usually it kind of depends on what you're going for. If you're going for like a funk sound, definitely you want a lot of compression in there, so just so you don't get that spike. Stuff like that, okay? Now let's start warming this thing up a little bit. Let's go to the air reverb. And what I like about this one is it gives you just very minimal options. So it says, do you want an ambient sound? Do you want a chamber or a church or a dense or a hall? Right? You can do room, studio. Let's just do room first. Let's make the decay time about 2 seconds. Size all the way up. And we're going to bring the mix down around maybe 15%. I always have the tails on, so that way if I turn off the reverb, then the decay keeps going and it doesn't shut off. Okay, so let's just say we're going for like a ballad type clean tone here. So I'm going to go to my neck pickup. And I am going stereo out right now. I have the rig full 100% width. Let me make sure my my channels here are panned. That would probably be good. So left and right. There we go. Yeah, so we should be in stereo right now. Now, what I've done is I did raise the preamp up about 75%, and any other amp, you would already be really dirty by this point. But since this certain Soldano clean, SL100 clean. This is basically the clean channel of the amp, and it's just meant to be a high headroom type clean channel. So you're not going to get a lot of grit. Now, if I do raise it up 100%, this is what we get. Okay, so that's what that is. And really on a single coil top guitar, that's still not a lot of gain, really. Let me tap on this, see if it focuses. There we go. Now, only with this kind of guitar, which is a Strat. These are DiMarzio Area 51 and 68s. 61 in the bridge, 58s in the neck and middle. So they are relatively low output, which means you can crank an amp and it's still not going to get tons of gain. So if you like that amount of dirt in your clean, that's fine. If you want it down just a little bit, maybe 75%. Okay. That's fine too, but we have to make a compromise of, do we want the amp to be clean and then raise the rig output to make sure we're getting good levels. So if I'm picking relatively light or just kind of normal picking, I kind of prefer my rig output to be a little bit closer to 0 right there. So I'm just going to go to the IR. I'm going to bring the gain up a little bit. So it was on 12, now it's on 10. Okay. If that doesn't do it enough, we can also just raise the rig volume. Let's just do that. All right, there you go. So that's about as squeaky clean as we're going to get on this particular rig. Let's go ahead and save this. We're going to say SLO. Let's put August in there. Aug clean. So that way I know the amp and also what month I got it from. Now this particular amp does not have tremolo on it, which is fine. But I don't know about you, but if whether you're doing a country gig or maybe just a clean jazzy thing or whatever, I mean, this is a good all-around clean tone right here. All right, so I felt like I spent a little extra time just kind of showing you the concepts of what I go through when I make all my rigs. You got to worry about gain staging, making sure your output is not getting too hot, and if it's really low, then you just need to bring it up either at the IR or at the rig volume. If you want a nice wide stereo sound, your rig width needs to be 100%. And I'm still not quite certain what the 2 amp gain does, but I don't really mess with that one a whole lot. All right, so reverb. Let's bring the time down to 1 second. Let's see what that sounds like. All right, it's pretty good. And then maybe we can bring the mix of that down. Okay, let's bring this up to 3 seconds. Hey, Rod, thanks for chiming in and watching. All right, so what else would we want to do with a clean style rig? Okay. I really I like tremolo a lot. That's kind of one of my go-to kind of sounds. Because I think kind of like a Fender amp, and usually Fenders have some kind of reverb and tremolo on them. So, let's just go with the default. And I'm not going to put the sync on. I'm just going to set it with the, set the rate myself. So. Now, one thing tremolo might do, and more than likely it will, is it might bring your volume down just a little bit. So, you can probably offset that by either having it square versus triangle, and then maybe just bringing the depth of it down. pretty good, right? Cool. You could have it faster if you want, if you're doing like a surf thing. Okay, there you go. I'll bring the depth back down just a little bit. Slow down the rate. Yeah, that's pretty. All right, let's add in. Now the delay type kind of goes into what kind of genre you're kind of play, or what style. Because if you're doing like an ambient kind of rock maybe kind of thing, maybe you just want like a little bit of a tape echo with a little bit of a high pass, or a low pass roll off on the high end. So we'll make it analog, long, and see what this sounds like. Okay. We'll bring the mix down. So this is going to have some modulation to it. The wow and the head tilt. If we can bring that all the way up. You can hear the warble going on in there. And that comes from the wow parameter. And the head tilt, I'm not really sure. I mean, it might just mess with the overall sound or timbre of the delay. Hiss, I don't really hear a lot of hiss going on. We'll definitely put the tails on. And maybe bring the feedback down. Alright, now if you have the sync on, we can start incorporating the tap tempo, which is on the bottom right hand corner of the pedal board. Da, 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 da. Okay, if we want maybe a little bit more repeats, you just kind of use your ear. Alright, not too bad. Maybe a little bit less feedback and a little bit less, where is it? Mix, sorry. This clean tone is not going to be overly ambient or just overly anything. I just want to be a good clean sound that I can either bring in some tremolo, bring in some a little bit of tape echo. All right, here's the fourth position, that kind of sound. So if you have a Strat, that's the best way to get that glassy kind of sound. You have to have it in that fourth position or the second position, which is just more like the... Right, you got the second position kind of sound, so... Alright, so we got tremolo, delay, reverb, a little bit of compression. And let's bring in one overdrive pedal. Nothing too crazy. Nothing too crazy. But let's do the anxiety overdrive. And we'll keep that yellow. But we are going to bring the drive down a good amount. Maybe keep that. Now, the tone knob on an OCD, or in this case, anxiety overdrive, is essentially a low-pass filter. So when you have it at 100%, you have the maximum amount of treble or high end you're going to get out of that pedal. Then as you start bringing it down, you are essentially lowering that low pass filter and darkening the sound. So here's with it the tone at 100%. Turn the level down on this thing. One thing about the OCD or the anxiety overdrive is it has tons of output. So I find myself really putting the level anywhere from like 5 to like 8 or 10%, somewhere in there. Because it's just crazy amounts of gain or just output level. So let's match it. Because when you bypass the pedal, you don't want the sound to either go up or down that much. Just kind of a good steady volume. Alright, so you might kick this in just for a little bit of a dirt boost. Alright, that's pretty good. So you can still get nice and clean and then kick on the anxiety. Okay, there you go. And let's just for fun, let's do one more. And for my JRC, I usually have the drive all the way down, the level all the way up, and then obviously make it green because it's, you know, it's a tube screamer. So this is what you're going to kick in when you want 3 levels of dirt. You're going to go anxiety overdrive first, just for a little bit of a boost. Sorry. Okay, we can turn off the anxiety, even just have the tube screamer. Okay, I am a little out of tune. I don't know why. I felt like it was my G. All right, here we go. All right, I feel like that's a good overall sound. So the greenback is going to have the most amount of mid-range in your signal, okay? Let's actually go to the C group, which is going to be very similar. Actually, sorry, let's go to the B group with the same mic. So A and B both have 57s, but the only difference is the speaker changes from a greenback to a vintage 30. So let's go 100% on both. We can go 50% down on the 57. And then 0, bring it all the way down to 0. I mean, it's very, the sound change is very small, okay? But it does make a difference. Here's the 121 down 50%. And then 121 all the way off. Hear how bright that is compared to this? That 121 really warms it up a lot. So if you like that sound but want less 57, then you just have to bring it down right here. So that's BE. and then 57 all the way down. All right. You also have the option of making the 57 off axis, which is a cool sound. So, and that's also going to make it less bright as well. So let's go down here to this range, and let's make the 57 down 50%. There you go. And with this rig, I could probably do a lot. I probably couldn't do like heavy metal, but with the Overdrive and the JRC, you know, it's a good classic rock kind of sound. So I'm all okay with that. All right, now, if you want to keep everything the same, but just change the amp or just change one or two things, this is how you can do it. All right, so we're going to go to ... and then, actually, sorry, we're going to save. Then we're going to say save new rig. And we're going to say SLO August CR for crunch. Okay. So now we're going to go to the amp and we're going to change it to slow crunch. Okay. Everything else is the same except for the amp. So you can see the settings we have here, right? We've got the preamp and all that stuff. So let's just listen to what it sounds like. So, do you like it? Do you not? I mean, what would you change? I may not change a whole lot. That has a nice bloom to it, but let's crank up the preamp. See, that's too much. I very rarely crank the preamp gain on the amp all the way up. I would rather have the master volume be up a little bit more and the preamp down, because that just gives more power amp distortion. Alright, now let's check your output. Now, I'm getting into the yellow right here, which I don't want to do. So I'm going to bring my rig volume back down. I can even bring it down lower. Alright, I feel okay with that. Let's put on the compressor. Okay, so that's my core sound for my crunch. Now I can kick in the JRC. Okay, this time, instead of the tremolo, we are going to bring in maybe a flange or a phaser type sound. Let's go with the orange phaser, which is the phase 90. We'll do a default stereo, and this is the sound that we get. Chris. Who is Chris? Do I know this Chris? Because I know some Chris's in my life. I've had quite a few, but whether it's the Chris, that's another question. All right, the orange phaser is not going to have a blend knob or a mix knob. It's just going to be the rate, and that's it. So you can definitely get away with like a faux Leslie type sound. But it's kind of crazy. Okay. I do like having my phase, flange, rotary, that type of stuff before any dirt in the signal path. So just kick that in if you want to go crazy wild with solo or something. Here's the tape echo. Okay, here's the anxiety overdrive instead of the JRC. Alright, it's not bad. Well, I'll leave the tape echo in for now on that one. Alright, we're going to do this again. We're going to do save new rig, slow, AUG, extended range. I know there's a drive in there, but I usually just go straight for the extended range. Well, let's just test out the drive first before I go to the extended range and see what it is. So here's everything off except for some reverb in the IR. So okay, there's that. Come on. Let's go to the extended range now and see if that has a huge difference or not. Alright, I think the extended range is beefier. So you could probably make an argument of you could choose between the crunch channel and the drive channel and kind of get the same kind of sound. But the extended range is definitely just a beefier overall sound. So I'm going to bring the master down on this, bring the gain. Because with me at a high gain setting, okay, cool. I had a roommate named Chris, and sometimes he pops in every once in a while. So, but yeah, but thanks for chiming in. Rod, do you like the phaser or not? Because you're like, oh my gosh, that phaser. I know it's a little over the top for me, but it is what it is. Ooh, wee dog. All right, let's bring the bass down on this. So there's a few schools of thought as well. Is if something sounds too bassy in the rig, you either have to think, is it the amp or is it the cab? Because those are the first two things that make the biggest difference. And then if you still want to go in and adjust things even more, then you can pop in maybe a graphic EQ or a para EQ, and maybe just scoop out some of the lower rumble stuff. Or you can always go to the IR and bring up the IR low cut. So just for example, without touching anything else, okay, let's do some playing. I'm going to bring up the low cut real slow. that sounds good, but let's say we want to get a little bit more bite back in our sound. So let's go to the greenback. Actually, let's go to a 421 greenback. So Group C has the greenback with a 421 on it. And we're going to go, let's go to this one. So isn't that cool how just by changing the IR and kind of getting an idea for what sound we're going for, I'm like, all right, I want a brighter sound with more mid-range. So that tells me I need to have a greenback, and then the 421 and the 57 are both going to have a bright sound, but just in different ways. So the 421 definitely gets you there as far as just getting a brighter sound in general. Then bringing on the 121 all the way up. So you can quickly see that this is the reason why I pretty much use just this, my pack of IRs. Because one, they're my pack because I designed them with Greg Barth from Sonic DNA. But this literally has everything I would ever need to sculpt any kind of sound I want. Do I want a bright sound, a dark sound? What do you want? And this can get you there pretty fast. And I don't have to have like tons and tons of options either. I mean, sure, you start getting into like greenbacks and vintage 30s in the same IR with different mics on each one. But it's just all comes down to what sound do you want, and just choose the IR that gets you there the quickest. Okay, so let's actually bring the low cut back down to about 80% or so. Cool, I like that one. So we're going to stay with the extended range on this, and let's not have a phaser, because somebody is like, oh man, that phaser, wow. I know, it's a little over the top. I do like the good old air filter. Okay, so our frequencies on this, let's keep this about 1,000, Rizzo's at 50, Fats at 50. Mix is usually down about 30 or 40%. Okay, let's just see what this sounds like. Now the air filter is supposed to give you a little bit of movement. There we go. So I don't want to have my foot do like the wah wah thing all the time. So a lot of times for my lead sound, I'll throw in an air filter, just so that way it kind of has a slow kind of, sweep going back and forth. And then when I solo, you get this natural wall pedal sound. I like changing keys in the middle of my licks, This is close. Bring the rate down, LFO depth. It's actually a little bit closer. Let's do the high pass mode. All right, there you go. I like that one. Let's throw in a different delay on this rig here. And let's go with a dyne delay. Stereo. Ooh. So cool. All right, now the envelope mix and all that, that's going to really come down to how tucked away the delay is after you hit the attack. Something's going on here. Tails on. I know the ratio has some stuff to do with it. Okay, so one, the ratio kind of takes your core note beats, and if you have it at 50%, it's going to make it half that. So it's going to make it like an eighth note. Feedback. Yeah. All right, there we go. So that kind of hides the delay, kind of tucks it back a little bit. All right, so if you have it in the positive, then the delay is going to be quieter after you stop playing. If you have it in the negative, the delays are going to be quieter as you're playing, but it's going to get louder when you stop playing. So let's bring the mix up and the feedback. So that's just something to keep in mind when you're dealing with a dyne delay or even the air delay. They both have the same, like similar parameters. I'll kind of keep it closer to here. Alright, so we're not really in like metal territory, but we're just in a good like hard rock, soft rock, maybe Bryan Adams solo. Yes, once again, I played in 3 different keys in less than 5 seconds, so it is what it is. I'm going to bring down the mix of this delay here. Cool. All right. Let's hear what some JRC does to this thing. Let's make the resonance down a little bit. Let's bring the mix of this back down. The air filter, that's what I'm adjusting here. Mode is BP. Rate, let's make it slower. Alright. That might be about as metal as you're gonna get with some single coil pickups. I really think you need like some kind of humbucker if you're gonna go like full on metal type stuff, but okay, here's the anxiety. So you can hear that the JRC brings a lot more mids out into the signal. All right. I like that. Let's do slow. Let's go for a full-on metal sound here. Shall we? Og metal. Oh, my foot was falling asleep. All right, so let's see what we can do. Let's just go to the amp. Let's bring down the mids, bring up the bass and the treble. Just kind of scoop this thing out a little bit. Let's go to our IR. And let's go off axis on the 421. So let's listen real fast to an on-axis 421 versus an off-axis, okay? So this is the on. So you hear that the upper bite, the upper high end there versus this. It's definitely smoothed out a lot. Let's go to an off-axis 57. Okay, I like that. Let's go to a different group. This one's gonna have. I'm looking for a 121 on the greenback and then something on the 57, a vintage 30. Let's try this. Okay, that's pretty wicked right there. Let's go to our greenback, bring the tone up 100%. Yes, that's pretty good. Let's bring in the dyne comp. Let's bring the gain up on the amp a little bit. delay. Alright, now for the metal, I feel like the delay is a little too much. So let's not make it as stereo. And let's go for a pitch delay. And I usually just have the semitone set to 0. Let's bring the feedback up. And maybe detune it just a touch, not too much. Tails on, gotta have tails on. And let's bring this to hello, 3/16 is my dotted eighth note. A little too much on the feedback there. Okay, I like it. Okay, let's go to a different reverb here. Let's go to a hall. Maybe bring down the seconds. So you can hear that the JRC is doing a lot to the sound. It's pushing that mid range. Let's try bringing the tone down a little bit. Okay, just little minor adjustments here. Let's do this. So what I'm hearing, I want a little bit more chunk going on the bottom end. Sorry. My dinner was good tonight, by the way. All right, I like that for metal. That sounds good to me. I'll leave the air filter in there. This is what that sounds like. Yay, air filter. Alright, I'm actually going to go back. Let's go back to my clean tone. And now we're going to save new rig. SLO og ogwash. Ogwash. And we're gonna trick this thing out big time. We're gonna get rid of the JRC because we're gonna make that as smooth as we can. Let's maybe bring the amp down to here. And let's keep the tape echo. We'll bring the feedback up a good amount. And the mix up a good amount. And okay, maybe not that much feedback. Okay, let's really let's use the high cut on this and roll off a lot of those highs. And we'll bring up the time on the reverb. Sorry, the mix is just too much. Okay. Let's bring in one of the new ambiverbs. Make it long mod. Very long. Whoa. Let's actually put the Dyne comp. Let's put that at the end. What that's going to do is help the sound not get too big. It's going to just compress a lot of that down. We'll keep the release a little long on this. Maybe. Maybe we like that. Maybe we don't. Tails on. Maybe mix down a little bit. Yeah. Turn the modulation up. See what that does. Let's go to the front here, and we can add in. Let's add in a chord wham plus an octave. So a chord whammy is basically a pog without the sliders. Well, really without a lot of stuff, but it's a polyphonic whammy. Because really the whammy that we know with the expression pedal, it's really just a monophonic kind of thing. It kind of sounds weird polyphonically, which means it doesn't sound good with chords. It sounds great with like single notes, But the chord wham is meant to be polyphonic, which means you can play full chords. You get that kind of sound. So let's bring the mix of it down. So I just want a hint of brightness going on with this. Okay, and with the modulation, we can add in a it's 2 octaves, 1 octave. I'm gonna add some low octave here. All right, now I'm going to bring in the, I can't do the pitch delay because I already have too many pitches. All right, I'm going to fix that. I'm going to take out the chord wham because I really want the pitch delay doing something cool here. So we're going to make this come on. We're going to make this go up 12 semitones, which is 1 octave. And we're going to have some cool like delay things going up and down. Let's make it detune. Tails on. So the pitch delay is what's making the high end stuff. So you can just hear that. It is, what's going on here? I'm only hearing it on the right side. Sorry. It's 100% width. I'm not exactly why it's doing that, but okay, it's cool. Turn all this back on. Looks like you're getting a head rush. Well, that is a valid option. If you want to, if you really want to help out the channel, you can use my affiliate link to Sweetwater and get a great deal on a head rush with 2-year warranty and free shipping and really nice sales guys over there. And I get a very, very small commission off of each sale of whatever you buy. So in other videos, I actually have all the links for the pedal board, the backpack, and a Headrush 108. And that's a pretty good little system right there, a good setup. If you want to add the gig board just for home use, you can do that. Or if you want a Headrush, a gig bag, and a 2 108s, that's a good stereo setup as well. So please consider using my affiliate links in the description. to purchase all that, and that will help to support the channel greatly. So I do appreciate that if you do that. Let's kick in the octaves once again, which is not adding tons, but it's just what if we kicked in a little anxiety overdrive? Alright, now the greatest thing about the head rush, let me save this real fast, is you can do stuff like this. So I'm going to put it in rig mode, and I'm actually going to go ahead and just take out that rig. Because when you're making a new set list, you have to put something in there. So that's what I did. So we're about to clean now. Okay. He's in New Zealand. Well, you can't get anything from Sweetwater then. But get the head rush regardless, because I think it's great. I've been using it for 4 years. I started making videos about 4 years ago on the head rush, and if you just check out my channel, just type in head rush, you'll see all 150 something videos, and then probably the same amount on my in my membership if you want to check out the head rush tone sculpting course, which is really a membership now because you're able to download rigs and watch videos on the head rush. So here's my clean. So let me go from wash okay, that's pretty good for that. Let's save this. So what you just heard there was the wash sound, and it bleeds into the next rig, which is great. So you get zero gap in your switching. So let's go to a see where we're at. All right, so let's go to our extended sound. One thing we want to watch for is maybe not have that long of a decay on the reverb. Maybe bring the release down. Maybe bring the attack up on this a little bit. So I want to make sure that my signal is hitting around the 0 mark. So that way all the rigs stay relatively the same volume. So that's a good way to check. Just checking a few things here. Let's bring the low cut up on this. save it. Now, ambient sounds, there's a plethora of different ways to have an ambient sound, but all right, Bachelor 101. Let me know, what are you liking about the head rush? Okay. Is it the overall simplicity of the sound? Is it the sounds themselves? Is it the touchscreen? Is it? I mean, you let me know. This is just one amp. This is one Soldano amp. Well, I mean, it's different channels of the amp. I'm basically just doing all Soldano tonight. Next month, I could be doing Marshall or Mesa or Vox or any of the Fender amps or just whatever. So I do this live stream once a month just to help advertise for the Head Rush tone sculpting course. But yeah, let me know what you like about it. Okay? Because it is a game changer for a lot of people. It definitely helped me out because I had a big pedal board. At the time, I had owned like 32 different amps over the years. And when I saw Pete Thorne demonstrate the Head Rush pedal board on his YouTube channel, I was like, wow, it's got a touchscreen. It sounds amazing. And I can literally do everything I ever want to do with this Head Rush. So, yeah, it's pretty great. All right, I feel like I want to bring down the high pitch just a little bit more there. Just kind of sneak it in. Sneak it in just a little bit more. There we go. Maybe bring up the mix of the reverb. Then bring down the volume of the bass, the sub bass sounds. All right, somebody was asking earlier about the looper. So looper is really easy. You're not going to be able to see the actual switches here, but we basically have start, record, insert, peel, and mute. Then we have half speed, 2 times speed, half length, double the length, and also reverse. So if I press record here, it's going to be really hard because it's up on a stand. Let's just see. 1, 2, ready, go. Alright, so there's my overdub. I'm in the key of E. MG30 only has 3 switches, less options that don't sound as good to me. Yeah, for sure. Back to minor key. Now I can raise the level of the loop by changing the mix. Okay, you want to keep the feedback at 100%. And if you change the location from pre to post, pre is going to make it to where each time you change the sound, it's also going to change the sound of the loop. So I usually leave my location at post, which means the looper is at the very tail end of all the effects. Okay. Back to major. All right. I think it sounds pretty good. Another thing you can do is you can actually save that loop. So we're going to save new loop. We'll call it E-drone. Now, the only thing that you can't do, E-drone, that's fine with me. Only thing you can't do is assign that to a switch. So say you want to, say you're on a rig somewhere, like you just can't hit a switch and start that. You can't start the loop. You kind of have to go in. You have to go and load it. You have to bend over and load it and all that stuff. It's just, hopefully they'll fix that in a future update. Because I think that they're really missing out by not allowing. If you can save a loop, why not call it back up on a certain, on a certain switch? That would make looping live really powerful. And I know they have the looper board, but just having a little bit of that functionality in the head rush would be pretty sweet. But anyway, that loop is loaded, so when I press start, it just starts. Then I can stop it. Okay? So that's how the looper works. And see if there's any other questions here. Pretty much all my videos are designed to show just how to get good sounds out of the head rush. I mean, literally, I would take this to a gig and not change anything. Right? So let that be a lesson to you guys. Just because you make rigs at home and then you show up to a gig and you feel like everything just sounds horrible, you have to go and change all your rigs before the show. It's like, no, forget that. Make your rigs, make them sound the best you can, then show up at the gig and let the sound guy do his job. If he feels like you got too much bass or too much of this, I mean, he'll EQ you and blend you in with the band. That's my personal opinion on that. Now, if you're talking about an amp, if you want to use your head rush with an amp, this is why I have the IR last in the chain. So what I'll do is I'll go global settings. And I'll set the amp line out, which is the 1/4 inch output on the back of the headrush. I'll set that to alternative and have the alternate source be IR 1024, which is what this file is. So it's going to send the full rig to front of house except for the IR. Okay, so the XLR is sending the full rig. The 1/4 inch out is sending the full rig minus the IR. That's why I have the IR last. Okay, that's exactly why I have it last. Yay, I went from major to bluesy. Man, I'm still a little bit out of tune. Alright, I think that's pretty good for this month. I will be making some other headrush videos coming this next, I'll be making them over the weekend and releasing them next week. So be on the lookout for that. And yeah, I think there's some great things coming down the pike as far as headrush goes. And so just stay tuned, folks, because there's a lot of cool stuff coming down that you're gonna want to be awake for. Let's just say that. So don't be sleeping on this stuff, man, thinking that headrush didn't do anything. They're doing something big. So thanks, guys, for watching. I am Dr. McFarland. If you want to support the channel, then you can either buy a t-shirt through my donate and merch link down below in the description. You can also donate through that link. If you want to donate, if you want to support Greg Barth at Sonic DNA, then be sure to buy my Sonic DNA Doc IR pack, which has a link in the description as well. He gets a cut, I get a cut, we both win, and you get an awesome pack of IRs that you can use for literally any style of music. So you've watched me dial in the IRs tonight on these rigs. So if you end up signing up for my Headrush membership course, you're not going to get the IRs unless you buy them, but you can put in your own IRs if you want to. If you have IRs that you already have, that's fine. Okay, I'm gonna put these. I might just put like one generic IR in there, or maybe just a cab. I'm not sure, but just know that you'll have to put in your own IRs. Okay, you don't automatically get my full pack if you don't go buy them. Okay. Yeah, I think I'm just gonna do that. I'm just gonna put the rigs up there, no IR, but you can put your own IR in there. How about that? Okay. And so yeah, there's that, and then there's obviously the Headrush tone sculpting course on my website. You can sign up for that. It's a one-time fee. We're not doing this yearly or monthly crap. Just sign up once, pay once, and you get lifetime access to all the Headrush videos. And if you want the ultimate access bundle, you can learn about music theory, how that applies to multiple instruments, not only the guitar, but like bass, piano, all kinds of stuff. So if you're lacking in the music theory department, then that's a great course for you. And then also, if you want to learn more about recording, whether that's about microphones, about audio interfaces, about how to record, how to edit audio, how to mix, how to master, all that stuff, that is in the Ultimate Access Bundle. Okay? You can buy all the individual courses, but the bundle makes it just a better value for less money, and you get access to all future courses as well, which I am going to start cranking out here very soon. So thanks, guys, for watching. Once again, I'm Dr. McFarland. I will see you in the next video. Okay? Keep rocking, guys.